Okay, and I'll send out a notice to everybody. Alright. Okay, and to check to see if we're online. Yes, we are online. Okay, thank you. All right, we will start. All right, and we'll have a little kirtan. And I'll turn down the sound level so it won't be too loud for the kirtan. That's sound level down now. And we'll have a little bhajan. Okay, it has to be tuned. Give me 1 second. It's out of tune. Sorry about that delay. Patita pavana numa vine ke onai Jaharane kategele apudure Himona jayala Bravo, keep a cold job. Angara Brara Sahoile, Pasha Papa. Nashane Povitra Koro, Eto Maraka. Adistane aparate, kari harita. Tomastane aparate, nagi paritra. Tomarari doye saka, Govinda Vishra. Govinda Kohena Mora Vaishnava Pura Rachichan Mekoriasha Charanera Jule Narotame Korudoya Atita pavana toma vine ke ona Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Haribo, 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 Chako, Haribo, 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 Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravedikacharya, also Tela Satashi Shimad, His Divine Grace Abhaya Charanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananda Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Lila Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shitweda Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Shyam Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Maturadam Ki Jai, Jagadata Swami Ki Jai, Yamunamai Ki Jai, Shrimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nibhishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarni. So Magana Timidanda Shah Kananjana Shalakya Chakshurun Meditam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual masters, Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with the torch light of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. So, turn up the volume a little bit here so you can hear me better, the better to hear you with. So, anyway, we're going to continue with the teachings of, not the teachings, but teachings of Srila Prabhupada and the teachings of Lord Caitanya to Srila Rupa Goswami in Prayag, Allahabad. We are reading from the 19th chapter of the Sri Caitanya Caritamrta. And yesterday, since it was the Sunday program here, we just read one verse and we commented extensively on it. But today we're going to do our normal reading of the Sri Caitanya Caritamrta. So let us start to share the screen. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. So we're on we're on text 214 in the Madhya Lila, chapter 19 of the Sri Caitanya Caritamrta. All right, let's continue. Krishna Vinat Krishna Chaga Tara Karyamani Otaiva Shanta Krishna Bhakta Eka Jani. Giving up all desires not connected with Krishna is the only business of one who is in Shanta Ras. Only a devotee of Krishna can be situated on that platform. He is thus called a Shanta Ras Bhakta. Just to reiterate what we've been going through the last few days, we're talking about the different rasas, the Shanta Ras, Dasha Ras, Sakya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, and Madhurya Ras. That is the neutral Ras, the Shanta Ras, the servitude Ras, Dasha Ras, the friendship Ras, Sakya Ras, parental Ras, Vatsalya Ras, and finally the conjugal love, which is Madhurya Ras. So we're talking about the different qualities. And so one who's Shanta Ras, and we also mentioned this is a little controversial, but we mentioned this yesterday, but someone who is just pure Shanta Ras, he's not actually on the spiritual platform. But one who is primarily Shanta Ras, like the four Kumaras, but also doing service, then you're on the spiritual platform. Because without service, you can never realize your constitutional nature. Jiveta Swarupahoy Nacha, Krishna Das. So, Prabhupada explains, in this position, one is freed from all material enjoyment. When one is not agitated or disturbed, he can immediately realize his relationship with Krishna. A Shanta Ras devotee is therefore always fixed in realization. This instruction was given by the Lord himself to Uddhava. The beginning of pure devotional service is called Anya Bilashita Shunya. When one is situated on the platform of neutrality, he is freed from the material platform and fully situated in spiritual life. The word Dhamma used in verse 213 means Indriya Samyama, curbing one's senses. Actually, this is from Patanjali's statements, the Yoga Sutras. He says the whole purpose of yoga is Indriya Samyama. That means, actually, let me define it for you. Indriya refers to the senses. Manakshashtani Indriyani. So we have 6 senses. That is the perceptive senses. So what do I mean by 6? What is the 6th one? That is not the brain, the mind. Of course, the mind is not here. The mind is actually something far more settled. So Indriya Sang, what does Sang mean? Does anyone know? It means complete. Like you have the word Sankirtan, which means complete chanting or congregational chanting. And Yama refers to restrictions. Wow. So, complete restrictions on the senses, or completely controlling the senses. That's what Indriya Samyama means. And of course, they also have the word Yama Raj, which refers to the king of restrictions. Because if you don't restrict yourself voluntarily, then you get to see Mr. Yamaraj. The word Dhamma can also mean curbing one's enemies. A king has to take steps to curb the criminal activities of his citizens. Great Rajarshis, devotee kings, used to control undesirable elements in their states, and this also may be called Dhamma. However, Dhamma here refers to the conditioned soul who must control the senses. Real Dhamma means controlling the undesirable activities of the senses. So Dhamma has also been translated by Srila Prabhupada as meaning tame. So the senses are like wild horses or lions and tigers. So Dhamma means to tame the senses, control the senses. And someone who controls the senses is known as a Goswami. And someone who doesn't control the senses is known as a Godasa or Godasi. That doesn't mean go lady, Godasi. It means one who is controlled by the go. Go means senses. Swarga moksha Krishna bhakta naraka karimane Krishna nishta Krishna tyaga shantera dvi gune. When a devotee is situated on the platform of Shanta Ras, he desires neither elevation to the heavenly planets nor liberation. These are the results of karma and jnana, and the devotee considers them no better than hell. A person situated on the Shanta Ras platform manifests the two transcendental qualities of detachment from all material desires and full attachment to Krishna. So Narayana Paraksarve Nakutashina, this is a famous verse for the Bhagavatam. Nakutashina Bhivyati Swargapavarga Darakesh Vapi Tudyartha Darshanaha. A person who is devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan is not afraid of anything: elevation to the heavenly kingdom, condemnation to hell, and liberation from material bondage all appear the same to a devotee. This verse is quoted from the Srimad Bhagavatam 6:17-28. Elevation is about King Trichiketu, actually. Elevation to the heavenly planets, liberation from material bondage, and condemnation to hell are all equal to the devotee. The devotee's only desire is to be attached to the lotus feet of Krishna and to engage in his transcendental loving service. Edvi gunavyape sababhakta jane akashera shabda guna yena bhuta gane. These two qualities of the Shanta stage spread throughout the lives of all devotees. They are like the quality of sound in the sky. Sound vibration is found in all material elements. So let me explain what Lord Chaitanya is saying here. You have different, let's say, sense objects that are there within each material element, at least the Pancha Mahabhuta, 5 gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So in the most subtle one, which is called ether, which means space, you have sound. But when you get to the grosser elements, sound is present in them too. It's present in solid matter, it's present in air, it's present in water. All these different elements transmit sound, or allow sound to be transmitted. Like in water, you have sonar, which the boats use to distinguish when there's a rock underneath or there's a fish underneath or something like that. So, why is this particular example given? Because the quality of Shanta Ras, being equipoised, being unattached, being attached to Krishna, are actually manifest. The qualities are manifest in the higher rasas too. But in the higher rasas, there's more qualities, that's all. Just like if you have, ether has sound, right? Earth has smell. So, water has taste, okay? So when you get to earth, then you got taste, smell, sound. All the different sense objects are there. 5 sense objects are there. And form, of course, too. The two qualities of Shanta Rasa mentioned in verse 215 are present in all kinds of devotees, whether they are in Dasharas, Sakyaras, Vatsalyaras, or Madhuryaras. That's what I just said. The example of sound is given here. Sound not only exists in the sky, but in ether, but is also present in air, fire, water, and earth, which is what I just said. This is a scientific explanation of devotional service. Just as sound is present in all material elements, the qualities found in Shantaras are present in all devotees, whether they are on the platform of Dasharas, Sakyaras, Vatsalyaras, or Madhuryaras, which means a Shantaras is completely detached from the material world and attached to Krishna. And you'll find that quality manifest in Dasharas, but Dasharas means you add the service. In Sakyaras, you add the intimacy. In Vatsalya Ras, you add the superiority the devotee feels, or the protectiveness that the devotee feels in relationship with Krishna. And Madhurya Ras, I think you understand what I'm talking about. But you still have detachment from the material matter, material world, and attachment to Krishna. Shantera Svabhava Krishna Mamata Gandhahina Param Brahma Paramatma Jnana Pravina. It is the nature of Shantaras that not even the smallest intimacy exists. Rather, knowledge of impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma is prominent. So, not so much interested in Bhagawan. Because of an impersonal impression of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, a devotee in the Shantaras relationship worships the impersonal Brahman, or localized aspect of the Absolute Truth, Paramatma. He does not develop a personal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not at that point. Unless he has some servitude there. Otherwise, he cannot go back to Godhead with just Shantaras. Kevala Swarupajana Haya Shantarase Purnaishvarya Prabhu Jnana Adhika Haya Dashe. On the platform of Shantaras, one realizes only his constitutional position, that is, as soul, not as servant. But when one is raised to the platform of Dasharas, he better understands the full opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ishwara Jnanas Sambrama Gaurava Prachura Sevakari Krishna Sukadena Nirantara. On the Dasharas platform, knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is revealed with awe and veneration. By rendering service unto Lord Krishna, the devotee in Dasharas gives constant happiness to the Lord. Wow. Shantaraguna Dashe Ache Arika Sevana Ataiva Dasha Rasera E Dvi Guna. The qualities of Shantaras are also present in Dasharas, which is what we talked about before, but service is added. Thus, the Dasharas platform contains the qualities of both Shantaras and Dasharas. The qualities of Shantaras are complete detachment from matter, attachment to Krishna, and Dasharas is absorption and service. So you got three qualities. Shanteraguna Dashira Sevana Sakye Dvihaya Dashira Sambrama Gaurava Seva Sakye Vishwasamaya. The qualities of Shantaras and the service of Dasharas are both present on the platform of Sakyaras. On the platform of fraternity, the qualities of Dasharas are mixed with the confidence of fraternity instead of awe and veneration. This is what we talked about before. Because in Dasharas, there's awe and veneration. But in fraternity, that's Sakyaras, okay, then you get this confidence of fraternity, which means, Krishna's my buddy. You don't really look up to him that much. I mean, you admire him, obviously, but he's not God anymore in your eyes. He's God, but not in your eyes. Khande chare, khande chadaya, khare kriradana, Krishna seve Krishna karaya, apana sevana. On the Sakyaras platform, the devotee sometimes offers the Lord service and sometimes makes Krishna serve him in exchange. In their mock fighting, the coward boys would sometimes climb on Krishna's shoulders, and sometimes they would make Krishna climb on their shoulders. They're playing. They don't think that Krishna's God. Vishramba Pradana Sakya Gauravasam Brahmahina Ataiva Sakya Raseratina Guna China. Awe and veneration are absent on the platform of fraternity. When someone's your buddy, you're not going to be reverent towards him. Since this rasa is predominated by confidential service, therefore, Sakya rasa is characterized by the qualities of three rasas. In other words, there's the Shanta ras. Shanta ras means detachment from matter, attachment to the absolute. There's the Dasharas, which means servitude. Okay, you add the quality of servitude. And then Sakya ras, you add the quality of intimate friendship. So you keep adding the qualities as you go up the rasas. Actually, it's very good we're talking about this because it's a really important point to understand. Mamatarika Krishna Atma Samagyana Daiva Sakya Rasera Vasha Bhagavan. On the platform of Sakya Ras, that's still friendship, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is controlled by the devotees who are intimate with him and think themselves equal to him. Wow. Vatsalye Shantaraguna Tashyera Sevana Seva Nera Ihan Nama Palana. On the platform of parental love, the qualities of Shantaras, Dasharas, and Sakyaras are transformed into a form of service called maintenance. Now let me explain what I mean maintenance. That you think that you are responsible for the Lord's maintenance. That's what's referred to here. So the qualities, you got all these other qualities of Shantaras, which is detachment from matter, attachment to Krishna, Dasharas, servitude, Sakyaras, friendship, and then you add, I'm responsible for Krishna's maintenance. Just like Yashodamai, she's very much concerned with Krishna's maintenance, Krishna's protection, Krishna's food, all these things. She's very, very concerned for Krishna. So that's Vatsalya Ras, that's a quality of Vatsalya Ras. Sakya Raguna Asankocha Agorava Sara Mamata Dikye Tadana Varsana Vyavahara. The essence of fraternal love is intimacy, devoid of formality and veneration, found in Dasharas. Due to a greater sense of intimacy, the devotee functioning in parental love chastises and rebukes the Lord in an ordinary way because he or she is interested in the Lord's protection and maintenance. Apanare palakajnana Krishne palyajnana Charigune Vatsalya Rasamrita Samana. On the platform of parental love, the devotee considers himself the Lord's maintainer. Thus the Lord is and protector. Thus the Lord is the object of maintenance like a son, and therefore this mellow is full of the qualities of four rasas. Shantaras, Dasharas, fraternity, and parental love. This is more transcendental nectar. So in other words, just to reiterate, Shantaras, attachment to Krishna, detachment from the material world, Dasharas, servitude, fraternity, intimacy, and parental love. I'm responsible for Krishna's maintenance. This is more transcendental nectar. So in his Amrita Pravaha Bhalsha, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives us a short summary of this complicated description of the different rasas. He states that by becoming firmly fixed in the Lord's service, one is devoid of all material desires. These are the two transcendental qualities on the Shantaras platform. That's what we talk about. Just as sound vibration is found in all the material elements, the two qualities of Shantaras are spread throughout the other transcendental mellows, which are known as Dasharas, Sakyaras, Vatsalya Ras, and Madhya Ras. Although in Shantaras there is attachment for Krishna and order of veneration, since the two valuable transcendental qualities of this rasa are attachment for Krishna and detachment from material desires, nonetheless the sense of intimacy is lacking. The reason for this is that in Shantaras, attachment for impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma is prominent. In other words, the sense of intimacy by which one thinks of Krishna as one's only shelter and friend is absent in Shantaras because one accepts Krishna as the impersonal Brahman or localized Paramatma. This understanding is based on the speculative knowledge of the Jnani. Jnani means one who just tries to figure things out on his own. However, when this knowledge is further developed, one is convinced that the Paramatma, the Supreme Lord, is the master and the living entity is the eternal servant. One then attains the platform of Dasharas. In other words, he begins to serve. In Dasharas, the Lord is accepted with awe and veneration, but it's service too. Thus, the active service that is absent in Shantaras becomes prominent in Dasharas. In other words, in Dasharas, the qualities of Shantaras are present, and service also becomes predominantly visible. Similarly, when this same rasa is developed into fraternity, Sakyaras, a friendly intimacy is added. There's no awe or veneration in Sakyaras, therefore Sakyaras is invested with the qualities of the three lower rasas, or the three rasas, including itself, Shanta, Dasha, with the two lower rasas, and itself. Similarly, on the platform of paternal love, the qualities of Shantaras, Dasharas, and Sakyaras are fully developed in another form, a sense of maintaining the Lord. You're maintaining the Lord and you're responsible for his protection. Therefore, on the platform of parental love, there exists a combination of the qualities of four transcendental mellows, Shanta, Dasha, Sakya, and parenthood. The mellow of parenthood, that's Vatsalya Ras, puts the devotee in the position of a maintainer. Indeed, without formality, the devotee takes the position of maintainer and regards the Lord as the object of maintenance. If I don't take care of him, he's going to die. Thus, on the platform of parental, this is Yogamaya, of course. Thus, on the platform of parental love, the qualities of the four transcendental mellows of love of Krishna are present. And I guess you can guess that when you get to Madhya Ras, all five qualities are present. The Shanta Ras, Dasha Ras, Sakya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, and then Madhya Ras. Obviously, that's where we're getting to. Say Amrita Nande Bhakta Saha Dubena Pane Krishna Bhakta Vasaguna Kahe Aishvarya Gyane Kane. The exchange of spiritual happiness between Krishna and his devotee, in which Krishna is controlled by his devotee, is compared to an ocean of nectar to which the devotee and Krishna plunge. This is the verdict of learned scholars who appreciate Krishna's opulence. Iti driksva lila birananda kunde swagocham nimajantam akyapayantam tadiyeshitageshu bhaktedri tatvam punak prematastam satavritti bande. Sounds like the Dhammadarashika. Again, let me offer my obeisance, respectful obeisance to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. O my Lord, I offer obeisances hundreds and hundred thousands of times with all affection, because your personal pastime should plunge the gopis into an ocean of nectar. Appreciating your opulence, devotees generally declare that you are always subjugated by their feelings. And Prabhupada says the same thing. This verse is from the Dhammadarashika in the Padma Purana, and this verse was recited by Satyavrata Muni. Hey Krishna Nishta Sevati Shaya Sakyara Sankocha Lalana Mamata Dikya Haya. On the platform of conjugal love, it's Madhurya Ras, attachment for Krishna, rendering service unto him, the relaxed feelings of fraternity, the feelings of maintenance, all increase in intimacy. So Madhurya Ras is the intimate one, most intimate. So it has all the qualities of the previous rasas. That's what we've been discussing. Kantabhave nirjanga itiya karena sevana taiva madhura rasaraya panchaguna. On the platform of conjugal love, the devotee offers his body in the service of the Lord. Thus, on this platform, the transcendental qualities of all five rasas are present, which is exactly what I said. Attachment for Krishna and Shantaras, rendering service to the Lord, and Dasharas, rendering relaxed service in fraternity, and serving in parental love with feelings of maintenance, all combine on the platform of conjugal love when the devotee wants to serve the Lord by offering him his personal body. And actually, personal body means her personal body. Thus, because in conjugal love, your gopis, or manjari gopis, or sakis, of course, saki is a special category, but your female bodies. Female, of course, the body is not different from the soul in the spiritual world, so you're female ontologically. Thus, the qualities of other rasas combine to form the nectar of conjugal love. On this platform, all the different feelings of a devotee are amalgamated, they're combined, mixed together. Akashari gunayena parapara bhute ekadvichina chari karme pancha prativite. All the material qualities evolve one after another in the material elements, beginning from ether. By gradual evolution, first one quality develops, then two qualities develop, then three and four, until all five qualities are found in earth. That's exactly what we talked about before. You have ether. You got earth, water, fire, air, ether. So ether, air, fire, water, earth. And each one has a quality, and earth has all five of the qualities. It has form, it has touch, it has smell, it has sound, like that, and finally taste, and smell. So, Mata Madure Saba Baba Samahara Ateva Shvada Dike Karitamrta. Amazing. Similarly, on the platform of conjugal love, all the feelings of the devotees are amalgamated. The intensified taste is certainly wonderful. Hey Bhakti Rasera Karilana Digdarachana Ihara Vishtara Mane Kariya Bhavana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then concluded, I have simply given a general survey describing the mellows of devotional service. You can consider how to adjust and expand this. And that's the nectar of devotion. How Rupa Goswami expanded it. Bhavate Bhavate Krishna Spurye Antare Krishna Kripayangya Payorasa Sindhu Pade. When one thinks of Krishna constantly, love for him manifests within the heart. Even though one may be ignorant, one can reach the far shore of the ocean of transcendental love by Lord Krishna's mercy. Etavali Prabhu Tanre Kaila Lingana Varanasi Chalivare Prabhura Hailamana. After saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced Srila Rupa Goswami. The Lord then decided to go to the city of Benares. Benares is where all the Mayavadis are. Ooh. Pravate Yutiya Yave Kariya Gamana Tave Tanrapade Rupa Kari Nivedana. The next morning, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arose and prepared to leave for Varanasi, Benares, Srila Rupa Goswami submitted the following statement at the Lord's lotus feet. Agyahaya Asimuni Sri Chaitanya Sanghe Sahitena Parimuni Virahatarange. If you give me permission, I shall go with your lordship. It is not possible for me to tolerate the waves of separation. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, Prabhu kahe tumara kartavya amara vachana nikate asiyacha tumi yaha vrindavana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, your duty is to carry out my order. You have come near Vrindavan, now you should go there. So he's being told to serve in separation. Now, the interesting thing about serving in separation, it's much more intense than serving in meeting. And then one is more connected with the object of one's love spiritually. Not materially, it doesn't work like that, but spiritually one is more connected. So service is more important, like Prabhupada said to me one time. He said, don't you understand, you're not supposed to enjoy the spiritual master, you're supposed to serve the spiritual master. Vrindavana haite tumi goda de shakdiya amare miliba nilachalete asiya. Later, you can go from Vrindavan to Jagannath Puri through Bengal, go to Desh. There you will meet me again. Tanraya lingiya prabhu nokate achadila murchitakana teno dahani padila. After embracing Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got into a boat. Rupa Goswami fainted and fell down on the spot. Phew. Dakshinatya vipratanre gare lana gela tabi dui vai vrindavanere chalila. Okay. The Brahmana from Deccan took Rupa Goswami to his home, and thereafter the two brothers departed for Vrindavana. Two brothers means Rupa Goswami and Sri Vallabha or Nupama. Not Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami at this point was escaping from jail. You're going to hear about that a little later on. Mahaprabhu Chali Chali Aila Varanasi Chandrasekhara Milila Gramera Bahireyasi. After walking and walking, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu finally arrived at Varanasi, where he met Chandrasekhara, who was coming out of the city. Ratre Tenho Swapna Deke Prabhu Aila Gare Pratakale Asirahe Gomera Bakire. In a dream, Chandrasekhara had seen that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had come to his home. Therefore, in the morning, Chandrasekhara went outside the city to receive the Lord. He knew he was coming. Achambite Prabhu Deki Chandane Padila Ananditahana Nijagrihe Lana Gela. While Chandrasekhara was waiting outside the city, he suddenly saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrive, and he fell down at the Lord's feet. Being very happy, he took the Lord to his home. Tapanamishra Shunyasi Prabhure Milila Ishtagoshti Caritamrta Nimantrana Kaila. Tapana Mishra also heard the news of the Lord's arrival at Varanasi, and he went to Chandrasekhara's house to meet him. After talking, he invited the Lord to take lunch at his place. Nijagare lana prabhure bhiksha karaila Bhattacharya Chandrasekhara Nimantrana Kaila. Tapan Mishra took Caitanya Mahaprabhu to his house and gave him lunch. Chandrasekhara invited Balabhadra Bhattacharya to take lunch at his home. Bhiksha karana Mishra kahe Prabhupaya dari eka bhiksha magi more deha kripakari. After offering lunch to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Tapana Mishra begged a favor from the Lord and requested him to award him mercy. Yavat tumara haya kashi pure stiti moragara vina bhiksha nakadiva kati. Tapan Mishra said, as long as your lordship stays in Varanasi, please do not accept an invitation from anyone but me. Wow, transcendently selfish. Prabhu janena dina pancha sata se rahiba sanyasira sange bhiksha kahana kariba. It was known to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he would remain there only 5 or 7 days. He would not accept any invitation that involved Mayavadi sannyasis. Because they are blasphemers. They think that the form of the Lord, the personality of the Lord, the individuality of the Lord, it's all Maya or illusion. We don't want to see their faces. Eta jani tanra bhiksha kaila angikara vasanishta kaila chandrasekhara gara. With this understanding, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agreed to accept lunch at the place of Tapana Mishra. The Lord made his residence at the home of Chandrasekhara. Maharashtriya viprasitan harime lila prabhutanre sneyakari kripa prakashila. The Maharashtrian Brahmin came and the Lord met him. Out of affection, the Lord bestowed his mercy upon him. Mahaprabhu Ailashuni Shishta Shishta Jana Brahmana Kshatriya Si Karena Darashana. Hearing that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had come, all the respectable members of the Brahmin and Kshatriya communities came to see him. Shri Rupa Upare Prabhurayata Kripa Haila Atyanta Vishtara Kata Sangshepe Kahila. Much mercy was bestowed upon Sri Rupa Goswami, and I briefly described all those topics so we can understand we're coming to an end of this chapter. Shradhakari Hekata Shune Ye Jane Prema Bhakti Payase Chaitanya Charane. And here's the Shruti Pala. Shruti Pala means the fruit of hearing. It's like a benediction after each chapter. Whoever hears this narration with faith and love certainly develops love of God at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And usually this is the last verse in the chapter. Shri Rupa Raghunatha Pada Yara Asha Caitanya Charitamrta Kahe Krishna Dasa. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunatha, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta following in their footsteps thus, and the Bhaktivedanta purports to the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta Madhya Lila, 19th chapter, describing the Lord's instructions to Srila Rupa Goswami of Prayag and the science of devotional service. So the last text was 257. We read from 214 to 257 today. We really went through a lot. So then we'll go to the next chapter. Now, one thing is, I'm going to have to end at a minute or two before the hour, because, why? Because I have a GBC meeting right then. So we're not going to take questions now. Don't ask questions now. We'll tell you when we're going to ask for questions. We'll probably read the chapter summary and then we'll ask for questions. Chapter 20 we're getting to. Chapter 20 is Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Sanatana Goswami in the science of the absolute truth, and that happened in Varanasi. The following summary of this chapter is given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Pravaha Vasha, when Srila Sanatan Goswami was imprisoned by Nawab Hussein Shah. We remember that. We heard that about that in the last chapter. He received news from Rupa Goswami that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had gone to Mathura. Sanatan Goswami therefore satisfied the superintendent of the jail by sweet solicitations and bribery after giving the jailer 7,000 gold coins. Wow. I would let anyone free if I got that much gold. Sanatan Goswami was released. He then crossed the Ganges and fled. One of his servants, Ishan, followed him, carrying 8 gold coins. Sanatan Goswami and his servant spent the night in a small hotel on the way to Varanasi, Benares. The hotel owner knew that Sanatan Goswami and his servant had 8 gold coins and decided to kill them and take the money. Making plans in this way, the hotel owner received them as honorable guests. Sanatan Goswami, however, asked his servant how much money he had, and taking 7 of the gold coins, Sanatan offered them to the hotel owner. Thus the owner helped them across the hilly tract and proceed toward Varanasi. On the way, Sanatan Goswami met his brother-in-law Srikanta at Hajipura, and Srikanta helped him after he had heard about all Sanatan's troubles. Thus Sanatan Goswami finally arrived at Varanasi and stood before the door of Chandrasekhara. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called him in and ordered him to change his dress so he would look like a gentleman. For his garment, he used an old cloth of Tapan Mishras. Later he exchanged his valuable blanket for a torn quilt. At this time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased with him, and thus Sanatan Goswami received knowledge of the absolute truth from the Lord himself. First they discussed the constitutional position of living entities, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained to Sanatan Goswami how the living entity is one of Lord Krishna's energies. After this, the Lord explained the way of devotional service. While discussing the absolute truth, Sri Krishna the Lord analyzed Brahman, Paramat, and Bhagavan, as well as the expansions of the Lord called Swayam Rupa, Tad Ekatma, and Avesha, which are divided into various branches known as Vaibhava and Prabhava. Thus the Lord described the many forms of the Supreme Personality of God. He also described the incarnations of God within the material world. Incarnations such as the Purusha avatars, Manvantara avatars, Guna avatars, and Shaktavesh avatars. We'll go over all that when we go through the chapter. The Lord also, this is just the chapter summary. The Lord also discussed the divisions of Krishna's different ages, such as Balya and Poganda, and the different pastimes of the different ages. He explained how Krishna attained his permanent form when he reached youth. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained and described everything to Sanatan Goswami. And so we will end here. And we'll continue with the first text in the 20th chapter tomorrow. And right now, we're going to stop sharing. We're going to allow you to unmute yourselves. And then we have a question in the chat window. Quick, so soon. Okay. Tapan Mission wanted to exclusively be served. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu may appear selfish, but that should not be our attitude while desiring to serve the Lord be. I mean, serving him with all our capacity and 24/7, please correct me. He desired to be the only one to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because the rest of the guys there were Mayavadis, except for Chandrasekhara. So they both got a chance to divide the service up to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but basically everybody else there was a Mayavadi. And he out of service, not out of selfishness, he wanted to actually serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's very important. To protect him from the Mayavadis, to render nice service, not because he wanted to keep the Lord to himself. Important point. Okay, that answers your question. Now, there's a new person here, Gopal Das, Anu Das. Wow, I guess he changed his name. So, yes.
Early in last chapter, in some of the purports, Srila Prabhupada talks about progressively moving through the rasas.
Yeah.
And Prabhupada uses language like he attains this higher rasa, or then he had, it seems like the living entity is going from one rasa to another, moving up the ladder, so to speak. But then we hear about the constitutional position of a living entity is permanent. So how is it that a living entity is moving from one rasa to another if his rasa is a permanent state of his position?
Because as he's achieving his permanent state of position, he first has to become, let's go through the qualities of the different rasas. Shantaras, that means detached from the material world, attached to Krishna. So that happens first. It's not that he's actually situated in Shantaras, but he has to go through and attain the qualities as he moves up. And then he goes to the Dasharas thing. Oh, I'm a servant. I can't just like become detached from the material world and just staring at the deities all day long or the Paramatma all day long. And then understands after that, wow, the Lord's my friend. And then he becomes more intimate. So just like in any relationship. Okay, let's do a relationship. Let's pick an ordinary, mundane relationship. Let's say a man is in love in the material world. It's not really love, but that's from a sannyasi's perspective. So let's say someone is in love in the material world. Then first, it's just like passively, oh, she's gorgeous. Then after that, I got to do some service for her. Let me bring her some flowers. And then you have more friendship relationship, and then you feel I have to take care of her. And then after that, she agrees to get married to you, or whatever. Anyway, so you actually see this happen in the mature world in many relationships, and sometimes one is just stuck in one relationship. Like, for example, let's say I worship the Beatles. You know what a beetle is? It's not a bug. It's a bug with a guitar. Anyway, so bug with a guitar and drums and big nose. So anyway, so let's say I worship the Beatles and I'm just stuck on that. I don't want to serve them. I just really like them. Like to listen to their songs. But I'm not going to serve them. I just like them. That's like Shantaras. And then, let's say I desire to serve them after a while. I become one of the roadies. You know what a roadie is? No,
Yes,
you don't know.
pretty.
A roadie means traveling with them and serving them and setting up all the stands and the stages and everything like that. And then after that, oh my God, I don't know if I should go further with this one. Then they become very friendly with you, like that, and you just have like a real jolly friendship relationship with you, and then you really feel responsible for taking care of them, and then anyway, then you got the conjugal relationship after that, which I'm not going to get into. So, or you could just get stuck with the Shanta, just like liking them, or you could get stuck being a roadie, liking them and serving them. But when one is established in a certain ras, yes, you do have to go through those qualities to attain the higher ras. In other words, to be at the platform of Madhurya ras, you have to be detached from the world. You have to be attached to Krishna. You have to want to please Krishna service. You have to feel anxiety over Krishna's safety, like the gopis do. The gopis are actually anxiety because Krishna's walking out in the pastures without any shoes on. You have to feel anxiety about that. You know,
Pretty.
I'll tell you. You understand?
Yes, once you reach the Dasya platform and you're back to Godhead, don't you realize your Swarup and
No,
realize
you
actually?
realize it's the root while you're here in the material world. First of all, you got to attain the qualities. You're not going to realize your Swarup until, if you're not a coward boy, you're not going to realize that you're a coward boy.
But once you attain the qualities of Dasya, when you've
That doesn't mean
all
you're a
the
that doesn't mean you're a dasha, a coward boy. That means you have the qualities. You have to understand your Swarup to go back to the spiritual world.
so
In other
when in Shanta you're peaceful and desireless as far as no material desires, and you're attached to Krishna. And then
yes,
when you add the sense of
then you're
servitude,
serving. then you're serving. But that's not necessarily your eternal identity. And you don't have to become a servant in the spiritual world before, that's the question you're asking, before you could become a friend, or before you could become a parent, or before you could become a conjugal lover. You have your eternal identity, but you have to attain the qualities to move up to the understanding of your eternal identity, but it's not that you accept the other identities on the way up. Does that make sense?
Yes, Gurudev. Thank you.
Okay, so anyway, because I do have this ecstatic online meeting, I do have to end now, and there's no time for any other questions. I am sorry about this. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Unless Arundhati has a really quick question. She has her hand up.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I could wait until tomorrow.
No, ask your question if it's really quick, because I'm going to have to get online in a second.
Yes, Gurudev. Please accept my humble obeisances. My question is, I was told that Krishna is always 16-year-old in the spiritual world, unlike
That's right.
here.
That's
So
right.
there is no Damodar Lila then in the spiritual world? No Damodar Lila, no Kali Mardan, all these?
They have remembrance of Damodar Lila. And yes, there is the Kaliya Lila. Some devotee takes the position of Kaliya. But it's not that Krishna does not manifest the baby pastimes in the spiritual world, according to the Acharyas. He's always 16 years old in the spiritual world. But they remember the Damodar Lila, they remember all these other Lilas, but they're not taking place in the spiritual world. Okay, we do have to end, or else I will get in trouble, because my boss is calling. Okay. GBC is calling. Speak to you all tomorrow evening, same time, same station.